circling and circling. Hello, Miss Garcia. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for coming to our emergency town hall. And I'm calling this meeting because next week is report card. And we received directives this past Monday about report cards. And so I wanted to come on to have a conversation with our parents just about what the directives are that we were given. If you're not muted, please mute. Just to discuss the directives we were given and to show you what the report cards will entail so that you don't freak out when you see anything, or that you are clear on exactly what is happening with that. So I wanted to kind of do that up front so that we can answer your questions here, so that next week when you meet with the teachers, that you'll have all of the information that you need and you'll understand exactly what you're seeing on report cards. Ooh. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you right now, and I'm going to just give you an idea of the grading policy as is, and that will be sent out to you. This is not the one on our letterhead, but it's the same thing. So I'm going to.
Okay. As you start sharing, I'm going to translate that.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, that was a fail.
De parte de la señora Evans, buenas tardes a todos. El propósito de la reunión de hoy es para ella poder hablar con ustedes sobre las notas. Las notas serían la semana que viene siendo el jueves de la semana que viene. Ella quiere hablarles sobre las notas y cómo los grados van a ser distribuidos para que así entiendan un poco más y poder tratar de contestarles alguna de las preguntas que van a tener.
Thank you, Ms. Heredia. As usual, I forget because I just said that. All right, I'm sharing this document. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Beautiful. So the idea is that while we're assessing students in new ways because of the pandemic, we have to get like a more holistic look of the child. We're looking at all of the ways in which this pandemic has impacted our school community, and adapting our grading policies to reflect those realities, both for remote and blended learning, and on the ways that these things are impacting student learning.
Como sabemos que ahora las cosas han cambiado, en este año tenemos que hacer los exámenes. I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback from you, Ms. Evans. I'll mute you.
Mute me, yes, and let me know when you're done.
Como sabemos que las cosas han cambiado, los exámenes van a ser un poco más diferentes en la forma que las actividades son distribuidas a los niños, es diferente. Esto que la señora Evans ha puesto aquí en la página para que ustedes vean, y ella le va a mandar más información de esto por correo, es un poco expresándole de cómo es que van a ser las cosas distribuidas. Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
Okay, so if you look at this document, the idea that coming from the Chancellor's office is that the policy that we designed had to promote equity and flexibility and empathy in our grading practices as we look to, you know, what our students have been through and what they're going through. And so we're asking that our teachers keep up with their grading and kind of give us a real sense of what children are doing in this very different time.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had to unmute myself. En este documentario es expresándole un poco de, nosotros sabemos que ahora como todo es un poco diferente, tenemos que hacer que las cosas sean un poco más flexibles para todos los niños y hacerlo también que sea algo igual para todos, porque sabemos que algunos niños están cogiendo clases por remoto todo el tiempo y algunos niños entran al edificio. So tenemos que hacer que la cosa se balancee de grupo en grupo y que todo sea igual. Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
So we had an existing scale that we had, and we're not changing the scale. What's changing is how we are aligning that scale with the guidelines that were given to us by the Department of Education. And if you were with us in the spring, we had a grading scale that ended the year, N and MT and so forth. And then today I'm going to give you the equivalents to our regular grading scale and what they mean so that you are clear on what that is.
Entonces nosotros tenemos una póliza de cómo las notas serían distribuidas. Si estaban con nosotros el año pasado, de marzo al final del año, nosotros teníamos la meta donde era M y NT. Este año cambió un poquito, pero la señora Evans va a expresar, ahora decirle cómo cambió. Pero eso es lo que vamos a usar para dar las notas este año, M y NT. Go ahead.
So the first thing I want you to see is that we're going to have the same 3 marking periods, the one that just ended. And the one thing I really want you to take note of here is that there were only 31 days in this instructional period. So I really want us to focus on that today because we only have a small data set on which to do this initial report card. So this is going to come into play a little bit more as I explain going further what that means for our kids and where we are currently. But just looking at where we are, we started on the 16th and ended here, 31 days of instructional, just 31 instructional days.
Ok, so algunas cosas se quedaron igual, no cambiaron. Como ven, antes tenían 3 periodos de grados y todavía vamos a tener los 3 periodos de grado. Lo que cambió un poco es la fecha. Como vemos, en este año empezamos septiembre 16 y terminamos octubre 30, que viene siendo 31 días de instrucción. Eso es lo que ha cambiado. Y entonces el día de la nota todavía va a ser noviembre 5. Pero lo que cambió es la cantidad de días que tenemos de instrucciones, que ahora es un poco más corto. Go ahead.
Okay, that's toggling back and forth. Okay, so you'll see that what we also did was we scheduled our progress report in January because the time between when our new one starts in November and the next report card is quite a while. We have 60, I believe it's 68 now that I'm looking at this. I'm going to double check that. But we wanted to give you a progress report here in between, which we think will be a better indicator of what children are actually doing because we would have had now a whole body of work that has happened in this period.
Una de las cosas que hicimos en la escuela fue que entre medio del primero y el segundo periodo pusimos para que reciban un reporte dejándoles saber del progreso de su hijo o hija. Y eso va a venir siendo como en enero, así no tienen que esperar hasta febrero, a donde viene el próximo reporte para poder saber cómo su hijo o hija está haciendo en la escuela. Eso es algo que añadimos.
All right. So what the directives that we were given is flexibilities, the grading policy flexibilities. And that is that we must ensure that grading policies acknowledge the impact of remote and blended learning, and that we have to consider students' access to devices and high-speed internet, expectations for due dates and submission of late work, and attendance may not count toward that. So right now, as we're thinking about the grade and holistically looking at children, we're considering all of these things as well. What was the students' availability and access to devices, and not just devices, but to internet? And then working around that to say, how do we afford for children to be able to send work in different modalities and at different times, and then looking at attendance in a way that is not directly correlated with the grading, but looking at the attendance nonetheless.
Una de las cosas que tenemos que tomar en consideración cuando estamos dando las notas es poder ser flexible. So, esa es una de las cosas directivas que nos dieron del Departamento de Educación, que tenemos que ser súper flexibles. Por ejemplo, tenemos que tomar en cuenta si el niño o la niña tienen internet en su casa, si no tienen computadora o si tienen computadora, si recibieron una computadora pero entonces ahora no tienen acceso al internet. También poder entregar su trabajo en diferentes modalidades. So, un ejemplo, si el niño o la niña no sabe entregar su trabajo por la computadora, otra manera como pudieran llegar el trabajo a donde la maestra.
Okay, so as we look at our original grading policy, we see that originally this would have been the grades that would have earned a 1 for a child. And the reason I'm differentiating here far below standards for these numbers is just so that you have a point where you can speak to parents to say, you know, the child is performing, let's say, at a level 1 at this point, but this is where they're falling between. When they're heading in this direction on a 1, we know that they're heading in the right direction toward a 2. So in terms of showing progress, there's a 1 that says my child is kind of here on the very low end and I don't know, or we're not sure, there's not much movement that's happening. Different from a child who is really making some progress and may still be a 1. And I think the best place that this is evidenced is probably in their reading levels, where they can still be in the 1 band, but the high end of the 1 band or the low end. And for those children, they could receive a final score of an N on their report cards. They're not passing. They receive an N here, which would be N across the board on their report cards.
Ok, una cosa que hicimos fue que pusimos los números para que entiendan un poco más dónde su hijo o hija puede estar. Por ejemplo, antes nosotros usábamos la forma de darle grado del 1 al 4. So, un ejemplo, si su hijo tiene un 1, viene siendo un averaje de 0 al 55 y eso viene siendo que están en el área bien bajita de un 1. Pero también pueden recibir un 1 estando en el área bajita que viene siendo de 56 a 65, que significa que están llegando al punto donde tienen que llegar más o menos, pero que todavía no están ahí.
When we look, I want to jump here very quickly because I'm going to say something about this that impacts here. So here we have, for example, this NL marcation right here. What this represents is really if we don't have sufficient information at the time to determine whether the child has met the standards. And this could be as a result of, you know, we see that this child is making all this progress and they're going to need more time in order to meet it. Right now, they're on the right trajectory. So for example, this child who's approaching standard could in essence get some of these NL grades at different parts of the report card. So if you remember the report card, it has, let's say, reading, and then it has like 3 different bullet points. The child may be NL for 2 of those bullet points and maybe an N in one of them, and could possibly end up still with an N because they fall in here, but they are making progress. And we know that with additional time, keeping in mind that there were only 31 days, that they are making the progress, they just have not yet met it. And I'm going to show you the standard, at least one of them that goes across K through 5, to really give you a sense of what meeting the standard means. And also just thinking about, typically in the beginning of the year, we're talking about meeting the standard for the entire year that they are in. So that documentation and information would have to demonstrate that the child has met this standard independently on their own without support. And so that's what the difference is with here. The NL means they have not yet met it, but we anticipate they will. They may still get an N, but NLs will show up within the actual segment of the report card, even though the final grade may not be an NL. It would probably be an N for this child. They're approaching standards.
Ok, como pueden ver en el que hablamos anterior, el número 1, su hijo recibiera en el reporte que estamos dando ahora una N. También recibieran una N si están en el área del número 2, lo que reconocemos como antes que era el 2. El 2 viene siendo en el área bajita, viene siendo de 66 averaje a 72 averaje. I'm sorry, I'm trying to add people and mute at the same time. And talk at the same time. Estando un poco en el nivel más alto del 2, que viene siendo que ya casi están llegando al área de llegar al área 3, viene siendo del 73 al 79. Esos niños también recibieran una N. Ahora, la diferencia entre una N y una NL es que el N significa que todavía no están ahí, pero el NL significa más como que no tenemos evidencia de que el niño o la niña está en esa área. Ahora, su hijo pudiera recibir una N en una área particular de, vamos a decir, de lectura, pero entonces cuando llega a otra área puede tener una N y en otra una NL. Eso no significa que su grado en total para esa área va a ser una N o una NL, puede cambiar, todo depende de la información que tenga la maestra del grado.
And of course, we have children who are meeting standards or falling between the 80 to 89 category, the level 3s, and they would have met. Now, on your report card, again, you could have a plethora of different grades. You could have an N and an MT and an MT, which would give you a final grade at the top, would be meeting, right? But the child would then need to continue to work on whatever the skill is that they got the N or the NL in. So getting an NL or an N doesn't within one of the components doesn't necessarily mean that your child may not end up here. However, there has to be sufficient data, again, that says they're able to meet that standard currently on their own and independently.
Ahora viene el área del número 3, que viene siendo la área a donde su hijo o hija ya está haciendo lo que el estándar le dice que tiene que hacer. Viene siendo el averaje de 80 a 89. Solamente porque si su hijo o hija tiene en una área MT, que significa que sí lo pueden hacer y significa que la maestra tiene suficiente evidencia de que su hijo o hija está haciendo esa meta, no significa que en otra área no pudieran tener un ejemplo, una N. O viceversa, pueden tener una N y en otra área poder tener una MT, que significa que ya están haciendo esa meta.
And then, of course, these are the children who would be exceeding standards, 90 to 100, and again, met. And those were the criteria. So it was an N, NL, or an MT. Those were the guidelines that we were given. And then we married them up with our prior grading policy, taking into account some of the flexibilities that we were given. And those flexibilities will ring different for each child depending on what their situations were. And of course, the teachers will then, when you conference with them, be able to give you some information about what was considered in the grade, especially as it related to some of these things, and especially as it relates to the data that they were able to collect from the children, things that they are able to speak to in the data.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Entonces, después tenemos la última área, que viene siendo el área del número 4, que viene siendo los niños que están haciendo más de lo que pide el estándar de que hagan. Y ese viene siendo el averaje de 90 a 100. Esos niños también recibirán una MT y también aplica a la forma de poder recibir una MT, una NL o una N, que todo puede cambiar. Y todo eso viene siendo en el área también que tenemos que tomar en consideración la flexibilidad de cada niño individual. Si tienen una computadora en su casa, si el internet está trabajando. Y entonces el jueves, cuando se reúnan con las maestras van a poder hablar con ustedes y dejarles saber en qué área tienen que trabajar con su hijo o hija, por qué recibieron ese grado, qué evidencia le faltó o qué evidencia no tenían para poder darle la nota que necesitaban.
So the teachers will be setting up their parent-teacher conferences next week. And I know that some information went out, so I'm just going to correct it. Parent-teacher conference is on the 5th. That's Thursday. The teachers are going to be calling to set up the appointment times. It's virtual. It's a virtual conference. So they will be setting up appointment times with you like we did in March so that you can discuss your child's progress as of this time. And I continue to stress that please remember that the body of work we're talking about is 31 days. So I'm going to click on here now to share this information with you. And I just wanted to give you a quick look at, oh, Miss Heredia, go ahead, apologies. Because I want to do this and then show the parents.
Okay, queremos también acordarle que el día de las notas viene siendo el jueves, noviembre 5, porque sabemos que pusimos un calendario que salió primero y ese calendario tiene un error con la fecha equivocada. El día de las notas sería noviembre 5, que es un jueves. También La maestra van a estar comunicándose con ustedes en esta próxima semana para poder hacer esa reunión con ustedes. La reunión será una reunión virtual que nos vamos a reunir con los padres.
So I'm just going to use one of these as an example just to show you kind of what I did a PD on this some time ago. So if you get a chance to go on our YouTube channel and see it, just kind of breaking the standards down a little bit and kind of giving parents a little bit more context for what we're talking about when we're talking about these priority standards.
La señora Evans ahora va a compartir con ustedes los estándares que son la prioridad de cada grado. Ella va a hacer uno, por ejemplo, pero tuvimos una reunión que fue grabada y ya se puso en YouTube, si quieren ir a verla. Y es para que entiendan un poco más cómo es que las notas, el área donde su hijo o hija tiene que llegar a esa meta y cómo las notas son distribuidas.
Okay, so I'm choosing this one, the R1, and I'm only choosing this one because this is one standard that runs across kindergarten through actually pre-K, so for 3K through 5th grade. And what this standard basically is asking kids to do is to read closely. That's a skill that encompasses maybe 3 other skills, to determine what the text is saying explicitly, what it states literally out front that you can see, and what it says implicitly, what it does not say but makes an inference to. Then it asks them to cite specific textual evidence when they're writing or speaking to support the conclusions that they draw from that text. And this standard runs across all of the grades, and I'm going to show you how that changes across each grade so that you get a better sense of what children will need to do in order to have met this standard, so that we are all clear about what we're talking about together. We're using the same language.
La señora Evans cogió el R1 para compartir. Ella cogió este porque este es un estándar que está del grado 3 kinder hasta el 5º grado y para enseñarle cómo cambia de grado en grado. Esto viene siendo un poco de poder determinar la lectura de lo que están leyendo y poder hablar un poco sobre lo que leen con inferencia y buscando diferente evidencia en el libro que están leyendo. Ahora ella le va a enseñar de grado en grado cómo va creciendo, cómo es la misma meta, pero crece de grado en grado.
So, for example, you'll see here, this is kindergarten K1-2. So I'm going to slide down so we can see that. This is K1-2. And, did I go too far? Hold on. Here. All right. So in kindergarten, they're asked for this skill. To do this is to notice what the text says. Just notice, using words and pictures. Then they have to ask and answer questions, not the teacher asks. So they have to be able to ask and answer questions using observations from the text. Those are 2 separate skills that they'll have to be taught here. And they'll have to demonstrate mastery here in order to have met this at the kindergarten level. At the 1st grade level, there's similar things. The only thing that changes here is that, yes, they are noticing what the text says using words and pictures, but they're asking and answering of questions about important ideas, and that's how that changes, and details in the text. So now it's gone from just using their observations to answering and asking and answering about important ideas and details. So those are different skills that then they would have to, it's like a bumping up or a progression of what this initially is, and they would have to be able to do all of this together in order to have met this skill at the 1st grade level.
Ok, so lo que la señora Evans nos está enseñando en este documentario es que los niños tienen el mismo estándar en todos los grados, de pre-kinder hasta 5º grado. Ahora, aquí en kindergarten lo que vemos es que le piden a los niños que hagan preguntas cuando están escuchando un libro, igual que contestar preguntas usando observaciones. Ahora, la diferencia es que cuando se mueven a 1er grado, ahora no es viene siendo lo mismo, pero ahora solamente no es con observaciones, sino también buscando ideas importantes y detalles importantes en el texto que leyeron. No solamente van a contestar y hacer preguntas por observación, pero ahora también tienen que añadir los detalles importantes y las ideas importantes que encontraron en el libro para poder hacer y contestar preguntas.
So now we go to second grade, and this jumps up exponentially, right? Now they have to describe with details what the text says, along with what it doesn't say or what it implies. Then they have to begin to extend those implications with evidence from the text, inferring. And then this ask and answer questions using details and inferences made from the text. So that is now different, because this is where the inferencing portion comes. So they've gone from noticing and asking from observation to noticing and asking and answering about important details, to describing with detail what is implied and not implied, extending those implications with evidence, and then asking and answering using details and inferences that were made from the text. A child needs to be able to do this independently at the 90 to 95 or 80 to 90, let's say 80 to 100 to have met this standard here. And this is a standard that runs across the entire grade. And I'm going to pull it back for third, fourth, and fifth just quickly to show you what that looks like there.
Ok, como vemos en segundo, le añadieron muchas cosas más. So, ahora su hijo o hija, cuando estaban en kindergarten, su hijo o hija nada más tenía que hacer y contestar preguntas sobre observación. En primer grado, hacían preguntas y contestaban preguntas con observación, sí, pero también con las importantes ideas y detalles del libro. Ahora, en segundo grado cambia un poco, porque ahora tienen que hacer lo que tenían que hacer en primero, pero también tienen que poder describir con detalles cuando contestan sus preguntas lo importante del libro. También tienen que, I'm trying to like zoom in with my eyes, I'm sorry. También tienen que poder hacer implicaciones de lo que están leyendo, buscar evidencia en el libro de lo que leen. Y ahora la señora Evans va a buscar. Ms. Evans.
Are you frozen? Oh, you were. Okay. So I'm taking this down to third, fourth, and fifth grade now. This is the same standard, R1. And now it's adding that now in third grade, they have to identify, that's one skill, use specific details to support answers to and the development of text-based questions. Very different skill. They have to use prior knowledge and details to generate ideas that's not explicitly stated in a text. So now they have to use their prior knowledge with the details to generate on their own ideas that's not stated in the text. And then they have to identify and use the relevant details from the text to support that conclusion that they drew here. So you'll see that they went from noticing to describing to now they have to come up with their own ideas based on some prior knowledge about what the text, about the inferences they made, using relevant details that help them to form that conclusion. So that hops up quite a bit in third grade, as you can see here. Ms. Aurelia? Hello? Did we lose Ms. Aurelia? I'm just checking. Did we lose her?
Looks like you did.
No?
She looked like she stepped away from the computer.
Oh, she got kicked out. She was freezing up for a minute there. All right, when she comes back, she'll have a lot of translating to do. I'm going to keep going until she gets back, just to the other two. So fourth grade, you'll see now, this is a whole other level. Determine the important details and information to monitor comprehension. Recall and use important details to convey understanding through writing and discussion. Recall and use details and information when expressing ideas and conclusions. Draw conclusions about the text based on what is explicitly and implicitly implied, and then identify and use them to support their idea about the conclusion of the text. So this is a whole other level of this. And I'm just showing this to us because I really believe in the transparency behind what we're trying to get children to understand, and to allow you to look in and see if we're going to work together and build this understanding for our children. I think it's important. I know. Tell her to come back in.
She can't. It won't let her back in.
It won't let her back in. Great. Wonderful.
Pichardo's there.
Pichardo's here. Somebody's got to help me. All right. She got kicked out and it won't let her back in. That's just great. And then, so if you think about this, if in order for a child to meet this standard, they have to demonstrate the ability to do these things. So it's, and in fifth grade, it's very similar to what's happening here in fourth grade. So I just wanted to show that to you, to say, sometimes we're asking parents for their help and to say, please make sure the child does the reading. Please make sure, and the parent says, yes, they did it. But the deeper thinking around what these standards are asking is what we're really asking parents to help us with. And that they're able to then, once they've helped the children, release them a little bit so we can see their independence in being able to do this on their own without having a lot of that support from the parents. So
She's gonna try and go in under my name.
tell her to come in with tell her to be Mr. Burke. I'm sorry, I'm gonna give Miss Heredia a minute. She's trying to come back in. In the meantime, let me see the chat. Hello, good afternoon. Hi, Miss Evans. Good afternoon. I remember wrong. Okay, inferring. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna move on a little bit. I'm gonna keep going then, since Miss Heredia is not here yet, and then hopefully I can get her to translate a little bit when I come back. All right. So having said all of that, that was a mouthful. I'm gonna stop sharing. But that is essentially what I wanted to really bring to the forefront today, to say to you that the priority standards that we're focusing in on this year, and I think it's vitally important, because one of the things we know is that the standards are what drive the instruction that we're providing. And so it's important that we really get to know those standards and really make sure that the skills that the standards are requiring, these are the standards that they're telling us at each grade level that children must master in order for them to be successful in the grades beyond. So it's important that we really focus in on those and make sure that you are clear on those. And again, I'm going to be having continuous workshops on those standards, because I think it's important. I'm doing it with the staff, and I'm happy to do it with the parents, because I think it's important for us to know that. I know people say, like, my child knows their alphabet. Yes, but does a child know the corresponding sounds? Does a child know how to meld those sounds together to make words? And those are all parts of the standards and how they're intertwined together. So that's why that is important for us to go over. So I thank you for listening to that long, very detailed going over these standards, but I think it was important for you to see it so that you would be able to understand, in order for a child to have met those standards, those are the things they have to be able to do independently. So we want you to help them. We want you to help them when they're home doing schoolwork, because that's important. You are the support. But when we're assessing them, we're asking you to let go a little bit, because we want to see what they can do with all of our support and your support. And if you help them on those assessments, then we're not getting a true picture of what your children can do. Then we're going to go based on what we get from them. And then you're going to come in later and say, but my child can't do that. We're going to say, but he got 100 on this test. So
Miss Evan.
Yes.
Miss Jiminian, can I translate the last thing that you say?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think Miss Heredia coming back.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for offering, Miss Jiminian. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for leading us, Miss Heredia. Welcome back. Mr. Burke. Can you see it?
Yes, we could see it.
Okay, so I just explained 3, 4, and 5. So you can just do a quick overview of them.
Okay. Okay, en el tercer grado, como vemos, cambia un poco, porque en tercer grado ahora tienen que identificar, igual que poder dar detalles específicos que le da un poco más de información con lo que están leyendo. I'm sorry, I'm trying now to myself to go over it very quickly to see the differences. En cuarto grado, tienen que determinar cuáles son los detalles importantes e información, monitoreando también la comprensión de lo que entienden de lo que están leyendo. Y cuando llegan a quinto grado, cambia un poco más, porque ahora tienen que hacer todo lo que tenían que hacer en cuarto, igual que ahora también tienen que identificar y poder usar cuáles son los detalles importantes y relevantes a poder dar ideas y detalles con conclusión sobre el texto.
Beautiful, thank you. All right, so I stopped sharing at this point, and I'm coming back here, and I started just to talk about, you know, making sure that the children are taking their assessments on their own. And that's so vital. I can't say that enough. And I thank you all for being here and for helping during this really tough time, but it is so vital. Help the children at home. We want that support. When we're doing the classwork, when we're asking you to practice with them, when we're saying do this homework, and if the child needs to learn that letter sound and the teacher puts a video there, let them say that. Let them listen to it. Help them to do that. But when they're being assessed, please, it is so vital. I mean, we've had children who've gotten 100 on everything. So if my child gets 100 on everything, if I'm the teacher, I'm thinking, great, wonderful. Sometimes that doesn't match what I'm seeing in the classroom, and I'm saying, oh, okay, so something is amiss here. We need to know exactly where they are, good, bad, or indifferent, so that we know where to meet them with the support that they need to continue to grow. I'll mute myself now.
Heredia, antes de eso, ella dijo que es muy importante que cada padre entienda qué es lo que el niño tiene que saber, cuáles son los estándares para cada grado, y que entiendan eso para saber si su niño está a nivel. Eso pueden ellos identificarlo sabiendo cuál es el estándar para cada grado de su niño. Y después de eso, entonces ella continuó con que no le ayuden con los test. ¿Ok?
Gracias, Geminian.
Am I good? Do you need? Was that the translation? I was waiting for her. Thank you, Mr. Minion. That was it.
Yeah, she just added some of the things that you said, I guess, when I got booted off.
And now you're freezing again. So if you leave again, that's it. We're not letting you back in. All right. So so I just wanted to stress that because it's important for us to get that. Now, somebody asked about this parent-teacher conferences. Where would the report cost be? So I'm going to give you that information, and our lovely parent coordinator, Ms. Jimenez, is here to fill us in on that, but I'm going to get to that. It's on my agenda. I have a few more quick things, and then I will get to that. Do you want to say that, Ms. Heredia?
I hope everybody can hear me. So la señora alguien le preguntó un poco de información sobre las notas, cómo van a ser distribuidas. La señora Jiménez, que viene siendo la coordinadora de padres, ella va a darle un poco más de información de eso, y también ella va a asegurarse de que todo el mundo recibe esa información. El día de las notas va a ser el jueves y van a mandar toda esa información.
I also want to just quickly touch on attendance. I know that this is a hard time. It's hard for us. You have no idea what it's like being in this building and it's not buzzing with children. It is the hardest thing. Like, you come in and there's literally some days so few kids. And so, but we need children to be on, when they are doing school, if they're in the blended model, they must come in. If they can't come in for whatever the reason, let us know, but they have a blended remote teacher that they can sign on with as well. On the days that they're not scheduled for school, they have to go on with their blended remote teachers. What we're finding is that some of the kids are coming in on their A day, and then on the B day, they're nowhere to be found again till another A day. They're being marked absent. If your child is on an A schedule and they come to school on an A day, the next day, if it's a B day, they have to go on with their blended remote teacher for instruction. They're school 5 days per week still. So if either they're here or they're fully remote or they're with their blended teacher till they come back to the building. If they don't show up to those classes, they are being marked absent.
Otra cosa que la señora Evans quiere hablar con ustedes es sobre la asistencia de venir a la escuela. Tenemos niños que, un ejemplo, si están en el grupo A, vienen al grupo A en la escuela y entonces cuando le toca estar por computadora no entran. Esos días que no entran a la computadora están haciendo marcados ausente. Es importante de que si su hijo o hija tiene que asistir a la clase por computadora, por remoto, que vayan a la clase. Los niños todavía tienen clases 5 días a la semana, no solamente en el día que tienen que ir a la escuela, también sino en los días que tienen que estar por computadora, tienen que asistir a la clase para que estén marcado presente.
The same like when we were in school. If your child has a doctor's appointment or something that they need to attend, if it's in the afternoon, let them log in the morning. They get credit for being in school. It would just be like when you drop them off if they have an afternoon appointment and then you pick them up half day or something. Let them come in for that period of time and we know that they're going to probably not come back on. If they have an appointment in the morning, let them come back on in the afternoon and log in with their teacher so we can see that they're there. It would be no different than you taking them to the doctor in the morning and then dropping them back off at school. They will be marked late, but they will be present in school. And I'm just saying all of this because I just want to make sure that your children are getting credit and that, you know, nobody's going to bother you about this attendance. They are still taking this very seriously. They made sure to tell us, and I just wanted to express to you, please make sure that your child is on 5 days a week as much as is possible with one of their teachers because attendance is mattering right now.
Que la asistencia es súper importante, viene siendo igual que como si estuvieran en la escuela. Si su hijo o hija tiene una cita médica y tienen que ir al doctor en la tarde, por favor asegúrense de que su hijo o hija venga a clase por la mañana o viceversa. Si tienen una cita por la mañana, entonces pónganlo en la computadora que entre a la clase por la tarde para que así la maestra le pueda todavía poner la asistencia. La asistencia es algo que todavía tenemos que tomar todos los días que se está siendo reportada. Por favor, hagan lo más posible para que su hijo o hija asista a la clase todos los días.
Also, if you're on and your child gets booted off or you're trying to get on and you're having some trouble, many of you communicate with your teachers through Dojo. You can still submit the work so your child can get credit and let your teacher know that they're having difficulty getting on that day. We will still consider that as attendance because we have contact with you, the child turned something in, and we're aware that there's something going on. But if we don't know anything, we're marking the child's absent when it could be due to no fault of their own. So we're just asking you to stay in communication. If I'm on with my son, let's say Mr. Burke, Mr. Burke, my son, and he can't get on today because of whatever reason, I'm just dojoing his teacher and saying, having some computer problems, can't get in, can you send something that he can submit? If that happens, then we can say, yes, the child was here today because we know that there's an issue. And if it should get resolved throughout the day, then the child can rejoin the class.
Si por alguna razón su hijo o hija está teniendo dificultad entrando, sea por el internet o cualquier cosa así, por favor, mándale un mensaje a la maestra, dejándole saber por Class Dojo, dejándole saber, estoy teniendo problemas con el internet, es posible de que mi hijo o hija complete el trabajo y yo le mando la foto por Class Dojo o cualquier cosa así, porque así si recibimos eso, por lo menos la maestra y nosotros sabemos en la escuela que algo está pasando y lo podemos marcar presente en vez de marcarlo ausente. Si no sabemos nada, entonces hay que marcarlo ausente, pero por lo menos si tenemos la información lo podemos marcar presente y así su hijo o hija será marcado como que estuvo en la escuela ese día. Ahora, si el internet empieza a trabajar a mediodía y entonces pueden entrar a completar la clase, claro que pueden entrar a esa hora.
Now, Ms. Heredia is going to share some information with you about submitting work, because I know that some of you have had some issues with submitting work. You're submitting it, it's coming up blank, different things are happening. So Ms. Heredia is going to tell you quickly about it and then share 2 resources that we're going to put on our site for your use to help you with that situation. Ready, Ms. Heredia? Hello? You can't make this up. Miss Heredia.
She's frozen.
No, she's not frozen. Miss Heredia? All right, we'll come back to Miss Heredia. We'll do her last. Miss Jimenez is here. She's our parent coordinator. Can you wave, Miss Jimenez? There she is. And she's going to share with you a question in the chat was about the report cards and how to access them. So go ahead, Miss Heredia. I mean, Miss Jimenez.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
No? Okay.
No.
One more time.
No, ready.
Jimenez,
Can you see
go
the screen
ahead.
now?
Wait, no, already is.
Oh, she's trying to share her screen. Got it. Okay. Okay.
There it is.
Just a second, Miss
Can
Jimenez.
somebody give me a yes or no? Can you see?
Yes.
I can't hear any of you. I'm sorry. I'm not in that screen as you guys.
Yes.
Excuse me a second.
Okay, I see a thumbs up. All right, so this first video is how to upload work if you're using a computer or whether it's a Mac or a Dell computer. This is how it looks on a computer screen. Este primer video es cómo subir trabajo si están usando una computadora.
What's up, world? I'm Mr. Vaca, and today I'm going to show you how you can take a photo from your phone or tablet and send it as an assignment to your Google Classroom. I'm going to start by checking my Google Classroom, and I see that there is an assignment due, math homework, due on April 1st, 2020. And if I click on it, it has the directions. Please answer the following question. Show your work. Billy has 3 apples, and Sarah ate 2 of them. How many apples does Billy have left? So here I have completed the work, and I'm going to take my phone and take a picture of that paper. Now I want to focus on the Your Work box. It's located up here in the top right corner, and you have a plus button where you can add or create your work and then mark as done. That's where you are submitting it to your teacher. So I want to click the add or create button, and I have that file, that photo that I took, whether it's on my phone or here in the computer, and I'm going to click File. Now I want to select files from my device, and if you're on your phone, you're just going to click the Photos app. Let's say this file right here is the photo that I just took. I click on it, hit open, then click Upload. You'll see that up here and then at top right, that image is now processing. You have the bar going, and now it's done. I then want to click the Turn In button. It says turn in your work. One attachment will be submitted for the homework assignment. I click Turn In again, and now my assignment is completed by just sending in a photo to my teacher. And it says right here, unsubmit. So say by accident I clicked the wrong picture and I wanted to do a different one. Just click unsubmit, and then you do the whole process over again. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any other questions, please leave it down in the comment box below. Hit that subscribe button, the thumbs up, but most importantly, don't forget to wash your hands, work hard, play hard, and I'll catch you next time.
Okay, so that will be the way to do it if you're doing it from a computer. Ms. Evans, were you guys able to hear the video?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're going to post these because some parents have expressed to us that they're having difficulty posting the work. So we want to make sure that you know how to turn work in.
Okay, Ms. Gittins just wrote, yes, we can hear it, thanks. All right, so now I want to share this other video with you. And this is if you have a tablet, iPad at home, okay? Because it looks a little different when we're using a tablet. All right, and I see that everybody could see the screen.
Yes.
Hi there, this video will walk you through how students can submit handwritten work using Google Classroom on their iPad. Students will tap on their class and then tap on the assignment.
Yeah.
At the bottom of this page, tap on Assign. Then tap on Add Attachment. Choose to use the camera so you can take a photo of your homework. Use the iPad's camera. Snapshot it. Tap Use Photo. And allow your photo to upload. At this point, you'll see your photo attached. You can add another photo or turn it in. Once you turn in your assignment, you will see at the bottom of your assignment, it shows that it's turned in.
All right, so that's the way that you can upload a video using an iPad or a tablet. So it does look a little different. I will be posting both of these videos on the Google Classroom platforms. So you will be able to have access to look at them over again if you wanted to be able to review it or try it out at home. And I hope it was helpful to everyone. Los dos videos los voy a poner en la plataforma de su hijo o hija en su clase para que puedan repasar un poco más de cómo se hace, a ver si le ayuda un poco más. Espero que los haya ayudado a todos de cómo poder subir trabajo. Go ahead, Ms. Evans.
All right, thank you, Ms. Heredia. Ms. Jimenez, please tell the parents about how they can retrieve their children's report card at report card day. You're muted, Ms. Jimenez, you're muted. That will be the phrase for school during COVID time. You're muted. That's what we say all the time.
Okay. The fastest way to get your child's report card once the teacher has uploaded the information is the New York City student account. You will send me an email. I'm going to put the information in the chat box. The things that I need to verify that it's you, because it's personal, private, and confidential information that no one should have but the authorized, eligible parent. So the information I need is going to be in the chat box in just a minute. Once you send me the email with the information I asked for, I will verify that you're the parent, and I will send you back a letter that will have an access code. With that access code, you go into the website, put in your child's information, and then you will have access to report cards, progress reports, attendance, the COVID-19 consent form, and a whole bunch of other information that you should have regarding your child. La manera más fácil de recoger las tarjetas de grados es mandarme a mí una correspondencia electrónica con su nombre, dirección, teléfono, etcétera, para yo poder verificar que usted eres el padre de ese niño. Esa información que yo le puedo dar es confidencial y personal. So, yo tengo que verificar que usted es la persona elegible para alcanzar esa información. So, voy a poner los detalles aquí en el chat. Por favor, mándenme una correspondencia, yo le mando la carta y un acceso que usted necesita. Y la carta se la voy a mandar en español si usted me la pide en español.
So I saw the question. I'm sorry, I saw the question. Yes, you send the email to Ms. Jimenez requesting the child's report card, and then she will let you know what you need to send to her.
It's right here.
All right. Two other quick things, and then I'll look at the question. So the opt-in period was moved this week to next week. So it's the opt-in period is from the November 2nd to the 15th. It's still through the learning preference survey, which will be opened on Monday. Here's the deal with the learning preference survey, though. Most of our students are currently in remote learning, over 400 of them, which means most of our teachers have been allocated to the remote learning side. That may mean that we can't accept all of the children who are opted in because we may not have enough personnel to cover those children in school. I'm just being very upfront and telling you right up front what the situation is. If your child opts into the building, they are not going to have the same teacher that they had outside of the building, because those teachers are teaching remote. And if your child is in the building, then they need a physical person who is in the building as well if they are accepted back into the building. So I just want to be clear on that so you know. The opt-in period opens. We'll do our very best to accommodate anyone who wants to opt in. But if we don't have the personnel to opt your child in, we're not going to be able to do it. If we do opt them in, they're going to have a different teacher. Miss Heredia?
Ok. La señora Evans quiere compartir con ustedes que sabemos que muchos padres se están preguntando sobre poder poner a su hijo o hija que venga a la escuela a coger las clases. El periodo para poder poner a su hijo o hija para aplicar lo cambiaron de esta semana a la próxima semana. Va a ser en la misma forma que ustedes aplicaron para remoto. Pero la señora Evans quiere ser súper claramente con ustedes, hacer realista con ustedes. Si su hijo o hija ahora mismo está por computadora completo y usted decide de que quiere que su hijo o hija venga a la escuela, su maestra va a cambiar. Porque mayoría de nuestros estudiantes ahora mismo, tenemos más de 400 estudiantes que están cogiendo su clase por remoto completamente todo el tiempo, que significa que casi todas las maestras de la escuela toditas están dando clase por remoto de su casa, o por computadora, mejor dicho. Que significa, si no tenemos la capacidad de poder aceptar que su hijo venga a la escuela, pues hay una posibilidad que le digan que no. O si viene a la escuela, hay la posibilidad de que tenga una maestra diferente, no la misma maestra que tiene ahora mismo por computadora.
And the other question I saw in here was about devices. So if you received a device last year, we have a working list of everyone who requested and received a device. If there's something wrong with the device, they're now asking that you bring them back to us. Correct, Mr. Burke? And then we are asking them to be, we're asking for them to get repaired so that they can come back. We do not have any additional devices at the school at this time. And the ones we did have are not Wi-Fi equipped. So the ones that come, the iPads that come from the DOE come with the Wi-Fi already attached. We do not have that capability here. We were trying to purchase hotspots for our school. We're still waiting for directions on how that's going to happen. So we, in the beginning of the year, were told we'd be able to buy hotspots. I was ready to do that. And then we are still waiting for directives on that as well. So we have given out every single device that we had in our school. Our fifth graders were able to take our devices with them to their middle schools, which left us with a deficit with the kids who were coming in. We received a grant and we ordered devices, and we're still waiting for those to be delivered. I can tell you that all of District 8 received that same grant. So you can imagine if every school put in for all the devices, and it's not just us, but every school in the city and every state in the country, we are now waiting for something that we don't know when that's going to happen. So I'm just, again, in just a spirit of transparency, just telling you what has happened recently is, for those of you who are waiting for delivery, we recently received maybe a second delivery of maybe 2 more this week. One, right.
Yeah.
And then they had sent us a box of them maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with like 12 of them. We call the parents as soon as we get them because the children's names are on those devices. So we are waiting just like you. They didn't send us a heads up that, hey, you're getting devices for families. Instead, they're telling families that go to the school they know. We were like, what? So that's a part of the issue. So the truth is, if I had the devices, I'd be outside handing them out to all of you because I want your children to be here. Believe me. So as soon as we hear something new about the devices, we will. If we happen to get our devices before the city sends that, I don't know how that would work. They said they're getting 100,000 more. That's what they last told us. We're waiting for those. So as soon as we get them, we will let you know. What we've had also is some people that we loaned a laptop to receive their device and then they're bringing them back. We're cleaning those down, and if they're still in working condition, we're offering them as an interim device until they receive their devices. So if we receive any and you call and let us know, we will keep you on a list and we'll do the best we can. As of right now, we have given out every single device that we have in this building, we have 0. So I'm so sorry for that. I know they're telling you the school has them. We asked them where they were. They can't tell us. So we're just telling you what we have right now. The cupboard is bare, but we are waiting to see, you know, if theirs come first or if ours eventually get here.
There are 5 people that were putting tickets saying that they had damaged devices. They gave us the list of those devices, or the people. We call those people today. Until you bring the broken ones to us, we can't verify, because what we got to do is we got to match the serial numbers, then send it back to them, then they'll ship them. So if you were one of those 5 people, please bring them in ASAP so we can get them to you as fast as possible. There's a whole
I
lot
sent one.
of there, but
I have sent one.
okay, good.
Early.
Good.
You know,
Good. Thank you.
Nathaniel.
Nathaniel Rivera, yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good luck with all of that.
I'm gonna try. So, la señora Evans compartió que sabemos que muchos padres se están preguntando sobre las computadoras que aplicaron para ella, para recibirla de la ciudad. Ahora mismo, en este momento, no tenemos ninguna. Cuando la reciben en la escuela, la llaman, las computadoras vienen ya con el nombre de su hijo o hija en ella. So, así es que la señora Evans puede llamarlo para dejarle saber. El Distrito 8 recibió una beca para poder comprar computadoras nuevas. La señora Evans ya puso esa orden para recibir la computadora, pero igual no fue solamente la escuela de nosotros, fue todas las escuelas del Distrito 8, igual que todas las escuelas de Nueva York, entonces todas las escuelas de todos los estados. So, imagínense todas esas computadoras siendo pedidas. Pero la señora Evans tiene una lista de todos los niños que necesitan computadora para así tratar de, o sea, que cuando llegue la que ustedes aplicaron por el Departamento de Educación o la que la señora Evans esté esperando sobre la beca, la que lleguen primero, poder distribuir esas computadoras para ustedes. También sabemos que hay padres que no han dejado saber que la computadora que recibieron en marzo se les rompió o le pasó algo. Tienen que dejarles saber para así poder hacerle un cambio, porque la computadora tiene que ser mandada para ser arreglada. El señor Burke compartió que 5 estudiantes reportaron y tienen que ya llevarla. Tienen que llevar la computadora a la escuela donde el señor Burke, porque ahora él tiene que ver el número de identificación de la computadora, asegurarse que sea la misma, para entonces poder mandarla para que sea arreglada para poder recibir otra. Pero desde que nosotros recibamos más computadoras o cualquier cosa así, vamos a comunicarnos con ustedes. Ahora mismo en la escuela no tenemos ninguna clase de computadora para poder dar, porque el año pasado dimos toda la que teníamos y los niños que estaban en 5º grado tuvieron la oportunidad de llevarse esa computadora con ellos para la escuela intermedia, no fueron devolvidas de escuela. So, ahora mismo no tenemos, pero desde que recibamos más, nos comunicaremos con ustedes para entonces distribuirla a los niños que no tienen.
So I just want to reiterate the big important thing that I really wanted to get across to you today concerning the grading policy. Again, we received the guidance, and those are the grades, the N, the NL, the MT. And I'm saying to you that in 31 days, looking at those standards, do not be alarmed if your child has an NL. It doesn't mean that they're failing. It just means that they need more time to engage with the standards. We have 31 days. And I just want to keep saying that because I just don't want people to start feeling like, well, what is happening? We are on our path to ensuring that our children are going to get what they need. We're just asking you to work with us, continue to help us the way that you've all been doing such an amazing job of doing this entire time. I tell people that we have the best parents because you guys have jumped in since March and have just been partnering with us, and we thank you so much for that. And we expect that when we get through this year, it'll be better than it was. We know it's tough, it's hard here, it's hard there, but together I believe we can do it, and we have to do it for our kids. So I thank you so much for all that you are doing. Yes.
I wanted to ask you because they had called me about my son's attending.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you know, in the beginning it's so hard because it was all in the house, and it's hard to go out there and, you know, start doing these things again.
Yes.
And he had like 6 absences, but you know, he was getting into the computer, but he was going late on it. But he was going in. So I don't know.
Call me.
If I could get credit for those things.
Shoot me an
It's
email.
hard.
Send me an email. And I will call you on Monday. I'm putting my are you putting in my Miss Heredia, can you type in my email? Mom, email me. Okay, and just give me the information and we can look into that. All right, I want to thank you all very much. Happy Halloween. We miss not having the kids here and not being able to have our little parade and do something, but hopefully COVID will go away soon because we truly, truly miss everybody, and we're hopeful that something changes for us because it's not the same. So I thank you all for all of your patience and your kindness that you've extended to us as a school community. We couldn't do this without you, and I'm very, very grateful every single day that I get to serve this community. We will be having another pop-up pantry. We changed the way that we're doing it now. We're putting it in the classrooms first because we really want our families to be the beneficiaries of this first. We have no problem with the rest of the community. We just really want our kids to be able to be covered here. So if you need anything, please check it out. We're going to have another pantry soon. If you need anything, let us know. Miss Munguia has been reaching out to some of you for some other things. So just keep in communication. If anything is wrong, if you have any concerns, let us know. We will do our very best to help. And again, we know we can't do this without you, so we are so thankful. We get to serve you as a community, and I'm honored to do it. And I thank you all for your patience and your kindness in this time. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Hug these children. Tell them we love them and we miss them so much. And we'll see you soon. Next town hall is going to be on the 12th of November. Okay? Happy Halloween, babies. Have a great time. Dress up at home. Dress up at home.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Jimenez, we're gonna do it today.
Thank you.